Adrian, how are you, man?
Wonderful. I've been excited about this interview for a while now.
Awesome. I'm happy to have you on here. It's an honor, and we've known each other for a little while here. So finally, we get to have an official recorded conversation, and I'm excited about that. Let me just dive right in. I have a question right off the bat.
Let's do it.
Um, so I see in the background and on your shirt, lifestylerealestateinvesting.com. That is one of your companies of many.
hmm
What does lifestyle real estate investing mean to you? And what should we know about it? What message is that trying to convey to the world?
It's about building your business, which we're talking about a real estate business here, that serves your life versus us working and working and working for our business and neglecting our personal life.
Nice.
So that means it's going to look a little different for everyone. But I think most of us do want a little bit more personal time with our family, friends, than naturally seems to happen with our society because I've made this mistake through we go and start a real estate business and 90 hours later we don't see our family.
Yeah, but real estate investing is passive though, right?
Passive if you're the IRS.
I'm being facetious.
Yeah, I know. I mean, no matter, there's nothing truly passive if you're a responsible investor.
Right.
I mean, even if you have managers, you have to manage the managers. If you just put it in a REIT, you still need to actually look at that REIT and read the numbers and everything to manage it. Like, if you're truly 100% passive, you're not watching your investments.
Yeah. Great, great. Well said. So, what does lifestyle real estate investing mean for you as an individual? Like, how do you live that in your own life?
So, I love spending time with friends, family, nature. It's really putting all that first. And that does not mean every day I put all of that first and I put everything second on my business. A lot of it means is I focus my business on the parts that I am actively in that I really like. So some people may say this is work right here. I look forward to this, and this doesn't even work hours. This is fun.
Yeah.
But then you put me in admin work on behind the computer, and that gets put off. I don't like that, so I set my businesses up. The goal is continuously what I am not good at and don't like. Who else can do that? Can we eliminate it, automate it, or delegate it to get it off of Adrian to someone that actually likes it and is way better at it? So that I'm slowly, continuously building my business that way. So I'm doing the stuff that I would do if I got paid or not because I truly love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's I'm glad you said that because I think it's not only the balance of running and owning a business and then also enjoying the fruits of that in your daily life, but it's also about how you structure your business and the choices that you make in running and actually running the business. So, when you and I met and we started talking about business, at the time I wasn't surprised to hear that you had outsourced a lot of pieces of your business to virtual assistants or people that do bookkeeping and finance, all that kind of stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about how you have structured your business and businesses up to this point in order to achieve the lifestyle real estate investing that you strive for?
Yeah, let me kind of back up and show a little bit of my business. I am not the person that has hundreds and hundreds of doors. That doesn't mean you can't kind of do my style that way, but I look at it I'm like, what do I actually need to truly enjoy life? It doesn't mean I don't like some luxury things, but a lot of things I love don't cost a lot of money. Hiking in nature, the gear costs money for sure, but it's not like an ongoing big expense. It's not the same as a Ferrari. I would much rather be in a tent in the woods and then some days in a camper, which yeah, I guess those can cost the same as a Ferrari or something. But, like, I value different things. I value the connection and a lot of things that are truly free. I found make me happy. So with that, I don't need hundreds of doors. I'm also lower leverage where I'm making a little bit more per door. So I'm always looking at that tweak of it. So I have a team. I have a stay at home mom that's in the city where I invest because I don't currently stay in that city very much anymore, which is Central Florida. And so she takes care of the stuff that, I can't go and put a lockbox on yet. There's no technology yet. We don't have a button that we just zap and it appears on a door. So there are some things that we can't do automated with yet. So she takes care of a lot of that. Could I do it without a part-time office manager? Yeah, it would probably cost me more. It'd be less efficient, but I'm helping her grow. I'm giving her, a stay-at-home mom. She does a fantastic job. She's my eyes on the ground. Then I have Kartika that is behind the scenes. She's halfway across the world. We usually use the term VA. She's been with me since 2013. She's been an amazing
Wow.
part of my business. I wish she would work more hours, honestly, with me. She's fantastic. She helps on different things. She helps on the overnight, and she does a lot of that admin stuff that we talked about. She is so much better at that than me.
Mm,
It actually costs. Don't forget about the dollars per hour. She costs way less because she's more efficient than I
yeah,
am
for
at all of that
sure.
stuff. She doesn't make as many mistakes. So we have that, and then I'm always looking at, all right, is this gonna not only make me more money, but decrease my hours? Those are my two metrics. We always talk about all these different
Yeah,
metrics.
nice.
All comes down to net dollars go up and net hours go down. It needs to fulfill those two. Sometimes it only brings one up and it brings this one up a little bit, but then I need something else. So I'm always looking at that
That's
spread.
cool. That's really cool. That's a great way to look at it. I haven't framed it in that way, but that's
Well, I've done a lot of dive deeping of like, what do I truly want?
yeah.
And we don't ever have much more time. I mean, we can pay for stuff to be done for us, but you and I have the exact same hours. Everyone else has the exact same hours. We just buy some of our time back, which costs money.
Yeah.
So net dollars to live off of, eat, pay for the recording of this and everything else, and then pay to buy my time back.
Yeah. Yeah. Dan Martell coined that. If anyone hasn't read that book, that's a good place to start for understanding those concepts of buying back your time. Because buying back your time can be one. Well, it's probably all of these things, but for an individual, it could be one, buying back time to put critical hours of your strengths and skills back into the business where it really matters and you actually enjoy it. Or it could be buying back your time to live the lifestyle that you want to live and spend time with family and friends or hobbies or whatever. So you're embodying that to a T. So that's awesome. Let's actually deep dive into your business. So why don't you tell the audience what you do, the niche that you have in the real estate space, and we'll go from there, and we'll explore that a little bit more because it's a little non-traditional. Is that the right word?
That's a great way to
Yeah,
word it.
yeah. Tell us about what you do.
So I buy single unit mobile homes with the land. That doesn't mean a single wide or double wide. It can be, it doesn't matter how big the unit is. It's one unit. It's the home and land together. So I'm in the single family world. A homeland package is another way it's worded. What it's not is a mobile home park. Like you interviewed Jeff already. He does mobile home parks. He buys multiple units all in one parcel. I buy one unit and the dirt. So I have real estate. I have the dirt and the home. I kind of over explained that there for a little bit because it does confuse people. Like you said, it's an unconventional, it's been around a long time. It's just not that well known.
Yeah,
And I buy them in Central Florida and I do the most boring thing possible. My goal is to rent them out long term. I want the person to move in. And one day when they pass away, I want their kids to move in. And then say, I want that to keep going on. I even joke around with them sometimes and tell them that I am looking for a very long term resident to make it their home because when they move out, I have to work, me and my team.
yeah,
And remember that
yeah,
net hours we want down.
yeah.
So we want them, and it's better for them. Yeah, things change, but I don't believe it's good for people to be moving around all the time unless it's like for purposeful travel.
Yeah. How did you get? How did you get into this niche? Like, tell us the story around that.
Well, let me back up to my second property I ever
Okay.
bought, a single family ranch style, beautiful house, corner, that whole thing. And I bought it right at the last peak. and I was renting it out by the room. What is it called?
Co-living
Co-living
now
today.
is the tagline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't even called house hacking back then. So I don't even know if it had a name. It was just renting out by the room.
Yeah.
That's what I had learned somewhere. And so I was basically, what I'm saying is I'm maximizing the rent, and I was still losing 200 and some dollars a month every month. But the bank said, "Don't worry, real estate goes straight up. You'll refinance in a few
The
years."
bank said that.
Oh yeah, that's all I understood. I had never been to a real estate meeting like you run. That's so all I knew is what the banks taught me.
Yeah.
And the bank said, "Don't worry, go straight up." So a few years later, when it's time to refinance, we're in the crash. It's going down. I had that adjustable rate mortgage, so values are going down. I didn't understand. I thought maybe my payment would go down. Nope, it was going up. So I was going from losing a little bit every month to a little bit more. I held and held and held, and then finally gave up at the bottom of the market when you're supposed to be buying. So I sold it, lost it as a short sell, like 48.5% loss. The bank took the loss, but my credit did too.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I bought some more houses. And the reason I told that story is it's always stayed in the back of my head. And I bought some more houses, but I was just like, man, this doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right. I was always so scared because I compromised my integrity with that second house that I
Mhm.
bought. And again, I didn't honestly know how to really run numbers. So it was just a fear thing. But that's what drove me to look for something different. I love real estate meetings. I mean, that's how we've met. And I love going to your meetings. And, I'm really good at, we'll say, picking the brain or just talking to people that have been in the business a long time. I had someone tell me once, when you find someone that has already beat money and that's not their challenge anymore, they love to share their
Yeah.
knowledge. And if you can find that person and add value, they're going to share a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. I was doing it with the no haired or silver haired, individuals in the rooms. And I heard the common theme of mobile homes.
Mm.
They didn't talk about like real big, but if you really talk to them, they all had mobile homes at some point in their journey or currently had them.
Okay.
I got a lead on one. I just dove in. I spent all the rest of my savings, bought it. The return was fantastic. And then I never looked back. I started buying more mobile homes, selling off all of my individual houses because my goal was cash flow.
Yeah.
I was like, I can give everything else away. Now I've gotten all the other benefits of real estate, but my immediate goal was what can I produce to eat the most amount of money? So, eating off of cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah. Which isn't everybody's goal, right? But
No.
but
Yeah.
that is and was your goal. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's great.
And our goals, I mean, my goal today is not the same as then. I'm buying properties I would have never bought back then because they don't produce enough cash flow. Today, I'll look at maybe a little more equity or what is it going to look like in 10 years from now.
Mhm.
But my goal then was to replace income with cash flow. I had a very strong, strict goal. I wasn't thinking about retirement. I was thinking about today, which was back then.
Nice. So I'm going to ask a couple tactical questions here. I know that technically mobile homes are considered personal property. Is that the case in what you're doing? I know in the parks environment, our buddy Jeff Flynn owns mobile home parks. He owns basically the dirt, and the tenants or the occupants own the actual personal property, which is the mobile home. Is that the same in your situation?
Well, like most real estate answers, it depends.
Okay. Yeah.
So how do I run my business? It is not personal property.
Okay.
So we can attach the home to the land. It's physically attached. It's anchored down. It's sitting on piers. It's not going to get blown away by a hurricane.
Yeah.
That's physical attachment. Well, we can also attach it by paperwork. So nothing that you can really see. It's in the paperwork.
Right.
So in that case, when we make it one piece, a home and land, so we have the legal description, it has all those words and letters and symbols.
Yep.
And at the bottom of it, typically it'll say together with 1972 single VIN. And then that's not all the cases, but that's the typical way to know now your paperwork, it's one unit, which means my property taxes went up. I don't have vacant property. I have improved property. Now we pay less property taxes than, a house.
Yes.
If you want to get real technical, you could keep those separate. So you have one owner as the land and a different true entity, not just some, shell thing, owns the home. So now you have land and you have a home that's sitting on it. So now you do have personal property still.
Got it.
So I know that gets a little confusing. The more common way is we turn it into real property, and then it's treated like as a single family. There's a few little nuances there still with financing and different things, but essentially it becomes real property.
Okay. Okay. Then in that case, do you get all the benefits of owning real estate at that point? Depreciation, tax benefits, and all of that, or are there any nuances in there?
Yes, we actually get better
Okay.
because we get to make a decision. We can do the 27 and a half years depreciation.
Yep.
We can also do 5 years. We can then go back and treat it as it's a uh, just the mobile home.
Okay.
So some years we get to accelerate the depreciation of the personal property.
Okay.
And so we don't typically do that. My CPA and I, we always have that discussion, but we have that up our sleeve. If we have a year that we need some more depreciation and we had a new purchase, we can't just switch it around every year.
Yeah.
We can decide, okay, yeah, we're going to accelerate that. Now, personally, I don't like doing that because 5 years I have a tax problem.
Right. Yes.
And we make a lot of money with mobile homes, so it doesn't always, the traditional house, your depreciation wipes out your gains in most scenarios. That doesn't always happen with mobile homes. So yeah, we get the same benefits, and we have that little wild card that we can
If you need,
use if we really need
if
it.
you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Now, what are the price points that you're talking about? Like how much in Central Florida and in the place that you're buying? What are the price points that you're paying for these types of units on a range basis?
In the last few years, I bought for $37,500, and I bought for 139,000, 136,000.
Okay.
So these are two very different properties. So let's quickly kind of break that
Yeah.
down. 1960s and 1970s, the age of the home, there's not much value, appraisal value and stuff. It's basically cash flow.
Okay.
That's really what we're looking
Yep.
at there. The bank financing plummets. There's basically nothing. So, which means the values drop.
Okay.
So that's that $37,500 property I bought. It's on a smaller lot. It's an older home. It's in bad condition. Now I did get owner financing at 0%.
Okay. Great.
I have not found that to be very hard on these older ones because their way to sell it is me,
Mhm.
is owner financing it, or I can give them $12,000 cash or something because there's not much value there. Flip over to that one that I paid 136,000 for it. It's 1.6 acres. Now a lot of that was wet, but it's 1.6 acres. It's a more desirable lot. It's a 2004 mobile home. That's at that point still today the first time I even made it into the 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's a much newer home, much stronger. It's way more up to code for the hurricanes that come through and try to blow them away. So it's a better unit itself. There is bank financing on
Okay.
it. The dirt has more value. So let's compare the two on some cash flow. Usually on that newer one that I'm paying more on, those are the ones I talked about today. My goals are maybe to have a little more equity, a little more land. I'm usually getting a little more dollars per month with a lower return. When I say a lower return, I mean like double digits, like 12, 13, 14%.
Yeah.
um, and then when I go to that older one, I'm talking about I'm getting lower dollars, but a higher return on my
Sure.
investment. So I'm looking at 25, 30, I've even gone higher than that percent return, but I'm really not looking at anything under like a 25% return on my investment. But I just took more risk. So if I take more risk, what? I need to get more
Right.
reward, right?
Right.
I mean, it goes with it
And,
to be
and, and you're
responsible.
talking, and you're, I would assume you're talking cash on cash return, right? So
Yes.
dollars that you have invested in that property, a return, the cash flow is returning, and it's in those 20 to 30 range.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, typically. I mean, it doesn't mean I haven't done $0 in. Well, actually, I even got paid once to
Yeah.
buy a property after rehab and everything.
Yeah.
But yes, in general, that's what we're looking for because we got owner financing or I use private money. I'm bank free since April of
Good
22.
for you. Good for you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So you do use creative financing methods on these. And does that seem to work well in this niche?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's think about it now. The 2004 is a little different. Now that one couldn't pass an inspection, so it failed actually on the MLS 3 times. So I bought this on the MLS in
Okay.
2024, where it's a dead market and everything. No, it's not. I watched it fail a few times, and I really probed to get some information. But those older ones, they don't have a lot of options to sell. So I mean, I look at us as we are real estate problem solvers, and we get paid for solving
Yeah.
problems. So I go in and I talk to them, talk to them, talk to them, figure out their real problems, figure out their real goals. Not that they just want this money. Like, what are their true goals
Hmm.
here? And then let's make offers based on that. It works with all real estate. I have found that there's usually a little bit more problems in the mobile home space, especially these old ones. The title is always massively screwed
Ah,
up. So, like, when we have more problems, what do we have? More possibilities to solve problems. We're solving more problems. We're getting paid better.
yeah. Yep. Perfect. Fast forward to today. Are you? How many of these types of units do you have?
We keep in the mid 30s. As I get today, again, my goals change
Yeah.
throughout the years, and it'll be different when you listen to this in 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
Today, I am buying still for cash flow, but I am looking at a little more equity. I don't want the big headache properties that, like that one I told you, the $37,500 one. I did not want that
Yeah.
at all. And actually, I didn't keep it. I immediately owner financed it to another
Oh, nice.
investor that he's in growth mode. So just like my mentors did for me, they owner finance some stuff to me. I owner finance to him. So he's in the mode of like, I will go work on it and fix it and deal with this bigger headache. And I was like, I don't want this headache.
Yeah.
Maybe you can say I've gotten a little lazy,
Yeah.
but I'm able to make some money on the spread. So I'm making the difference of the my payment out to the owner. I become the new owner, and then I'm charging him a different interest
Yep.
rate, a little bit higher payment. So I'm making my spread there. He's able to get financing on a property that does not get financing. He's not financeable. So that's kind of what is happening is I buy a newer one, I sell off an older one. I have no desire to ever get to 100. I probably have no desire to get to 50 that we actively manage.
Sure.
That doesn't mean I take some of my money and put it into one of your
Right.
deals, but of active, I keep it probably mid 30s.
Okay. Okay. Did you on that one? Did you do a wrap? Something like
Uh,
that, or how did you
Not
how
technically.
did you structure that? Okay.
So here we can dive into it, and if I get too deep in the
Ah, it's
weeds, let me
okay.
know.
It's good
All
for
right.
people
So
to understand
yeah.
some of the nuances.
So I'm buying it from the seller.
Yes.
We do a full title transfer. It is now in my name. When I say my name, we buy in land trust in
Yep.
Florida. A lot of the states use land trust. I really like and understand land trust. So the land trust now owns the property and has to make payments to the previous owner.
Yes.
There's a mortgage recorded on it and everything. So now comes the investor I'm going to sell it to. Well, technically, the land trust is going to sell it to. So the way that we like to keep all the control is we are selling them the beneficial interest of the land trust. So we don't ever lose title on
Got
it.
it.
So that we keep a little more control. Some of this is in theory because it hasn't fully gone to court, and hopefully it never has to. But it's personal property. We should not have to foreclose. I don't ever want to find that out, anyways, because I just want to have good conversations with all my
Right.
people. I've had to take properties back. We had good conversations, and we took it back. It wasn't. You don't want to ever have to go to court.
Right.
The only people that win there are the
Yep.
attorneys. So, but that's what it is. Is now we have that control, so we're selling them that beneficial interest of the land trust. But tax wise, it is an installment sale. So IRS still sees it as an installment sale. That's
I
how we
see.
treat it.
Okay.
So we're treating it that way. But if we have to take it back, we should not have to do a foreclosure that
Okay.
way. And so we're able to make money. He's able to make money. He understands the whole thing. He knows what's going on. We don't try to hide
Yeah.
anything from
Yeah.
that person. We explain exactly what's going on. Actually, we have the same CPA, that guy and me,
Okay.
so which makes it really easy for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Nice.
So
That's awesome. Okay, so 30 units, you probably stay around there. Well, and like any, as time goes by owning units, you understand what your strongest performing units are versus your not so great. And
mhm.
there come times to let go of some, and then that gives you opportunities to find more more properties that might fit your goals today. You know,
That's an excellent way to word
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. I find that doing that in my own portfolio as well. So
Yeah. One of my mentors, he always says every year you should analyze your property and find your biggest dog and sell it.
yeah, yeah,
Because there's always one. It doesn't matter how high quality of a portfolio you have, there's always the least performing.
yes,
And that way you're always upgrading. Now I have not fully subscribed to that because I don't like selling.
I know, I
It hurts me. I was like, now I got to go work and put this money to
know,
work again.
I know. How do you approach filling these units? You and I have talked about your process a little bit, but share with maybe if everyone your philosophy around finding good tenants, ensuring, and it's not a perfect process. We all know that.
No.
But how do you mitigate some of that risk in finding a good tenant versus a bad tenant?
Well, first of all, I use the term resident and housing provider. It's a
Right,
little different, but
right,
I just have my reasons that I feel like they have less
yeah,
stigma with those
for
two
sure.
uh, terms. So all of our marketing for a vacant unit only directs the people to the unit. So that means when they click on Zillow, I'm interested, and you have 5,000 emails from that, we're not replying to those.
Yep,
When they make the phone calls because they saw the phone number on a sign, they saw the phone number on Zillow or anywhere else, we're not answering those. So in the ads, on the voicemail, everything, all of our different marketing channels, doesn't matter what those are, it all gives the address and says, go to the property.
mm.
That got rid of 90% of the people right there. If you were too lazy to go to the property and see it, I don't want you as a
yeah,
resident. You're going to call me for everything.
yeah,
And we want someone to make it their home. Like they want this property, not that they have to move there. So also that's another piece. You can't just move in our property the next day. If you need to move in the next day, well, you're probably going to move out of ours the next day, type thing at one point.
yeah.
There's always some exceptions to that. So now they get to the property. We have a security system. We have a different phone number that they get a human being on. So they hear that whole first part. We are very compliant with fair housing. I'm very cautious with that because we couldn't discriminate. There's no way to discriminate there
Yeah, that's true.
because we didn't talk to anyone. We didn't see anyone. There's nothing there. We're giving everyone the exact same uh, opportunity to get there. So then, yes, there is a human being that answers. They get the driver's license. They let them in. They give them
Is that
the
your
security.
assistant or your office manager? No.
No, actually, I hired a call center
Oh,
for it.
okay.
Because I don't think it's the best use of her time, and she doesn't like doing it.
Okay.
If she doesn't like doing it, how long is she going to be with me when she's doing all these things that she doesn't like doing? And really, her time's better spent somewhere else. And I just do not like to answer the phone. I don't answer the phone. So now they got in the property, they saw the property, they looked around, they spent their time. There's no pressure there. We can check to see if they left. We have the security system there. We have the lockbox, code there. We use code box, so it's like $2.50 a month, and it changes the code every hour, I think it is. So it's
That's cool.
fantastic little. I wish I would have bought that early. Anyway, so then now they've seen it. There's no pressure there. They really got to walk it and see it. Now they can fill out an application. Then we call them again because we do a few things that are a little different. We're really gearing the people, setting them up for success, and they stay a long time.
Yeah.
So you see that like this isn't like apply and you're in the next day. Now, let's say they're approved. We actually check their references and I know most people don't ever call landlords because I've gotten two in my 22 years. I've gotten two calls, so I know people don't
Oh
actually
yeah.
check.
Oh yeah.
And all my friends that have been in the business a long time, they have similar numbers. Now we check their job. We actually check everything. They're approved. We go over the lease. We don't push it over, send it over, and say sign it, which is what I did when I first started. And the reason I did it is because I didn't know the answers to any questions in the lease. I had never read it
Yeah.
myself. I was scared.
Yeah.
So we go over the whole thing. It takes an hour, hour and a half. We have them ask questions. We go through scenarios of what happened, why this is there. It's all recorded on Zoom. So if one day they try to say, well, I didn't understand something, well, remember that recording that we have? They all have to be on video. It's not just there to protect us, but it's really there because if this doesn't work for them, we don't want them to get into an agreement that 3 months later they want to move out.
Right.
Now, this is, even though we've already approved them, this is still part of the interview process. And we have had people ask to not rent, or we could tell, and we gave them the opportunity to get out at this point before they signed it. We do not allow them to even sign it after the review. We give them at least an hour before they can sign it. Then we meet them at the property.
Yep.
And we walk the property. We recheck to make sure the water's hot, to make sure our windows aren't broken. Like just the house is still in the same condition. Yeah. We sign it. We make sure we already have the money exchanged and everything. Give them the keys, and then we still communicate. We don't just forget them. Like, oh yeah, move in. We never answer your phone calls again. Yeah. We take care of them, and they're part of our team to take care of the property. That's the 35,000 foot view of the whole system.
That's so. The reading the lease on a recorded video, I think that's brilliant, and I think it's just so. Nobody really thinks to do that, and it's such a little thing that I think if people employed that and used it, I think they'd have a lot fewer tenant issues or resident issues, if you will.
Yeah, because turnover, we don't make money during turnover. If you turn a property every year,
that's like real estate investing 101. Vacancy kills you. Vacancy will kill your cash flow.
Yeah. And so some of my mentors did this with a tape recorder. They would sit in front of them and actually hit record on a tape recorder.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I did is use technology. Yeah. And then COVID made it easy and acceptable to do it on Zoom. Uh-huh. And so then that's how we do it. And we record it. They remember it. Because we have had someone try to say something. Well, like, remember when we went over the lease and we never heard another question? Because we knew it was a lie, what they were saying. And they knew it too. But as soon as we said it, they shut up.
What do you think your average resident time at a property is? Do you feel like it's a longer period of time on average?
So I've not tracked that data until recent years. This is where I have a very big ego goal. I want to beat my mentors.
Okay.
And my ego is driving this. And my longest mentor is 32 and a half years with one person in a property. So I have to start now to be able to beat that. I do believe my system will go longer. Now, where's some, not just me saying that and puffing my chest up and saying it. My fractional CFO, he's a CFO for many other people. He said, because he sees everyone's books and everything's processed, he said, you take a little bit longer to fill a property, but you have less turnover than I'm seeing in other companies and businesses. And he does some really big businesses. So that made me feel better about, I already believe in my process and really, like I said, I have an ego goal, and ego can really drive you pretty hard. I don't have very many, but that is one of them. And it's only going to help me and help my residents.
How do you look at, you and I talked about one of your properties at some point about, it actually sat vacant for, what was it, 6 or 9 months?
Yeah.
How do you look at that as like, wow, you just missed 6 or 9 months of income? How do you just balance your approach with the reality of it sitting empty for a little while?
Man, that was a hard one. It's just like I just kept getting whacked over and over and over with that one. I've never had a property sit like that. So we had to rehab it. And then remember, I'm in Central Florida. So then we had a hurricane hit. And then the hurricane did a little more damage. Then we got that fixed. And then we had it for rent. And then we realized when they pushed the refrigerator back, it pinched the water line.
Yeah, that's right.
And my worst water damage I've ever had twice are from water line damages into the refrigerator. It's the tiniest pinhole, and you never notice it until it's just flooded. So you're replacing walls and all this stuff. So then we had that.
You do not want water issues in Florida.
No. I would rather have like a toilet overflowing because you catch it quick.
Yeah.
So then we had that. And then, the market froze in Florida. This was like election time. We can come up with all these excuses, which I was listening to. I really was. Like, okay, well, yeah, I guess it's that. Well, I guess it's holidays, even though it usually doesn't affect me in holidays. And I had all these things. And then I just finally said, like, we need to shift this. Like, I don't care about these excuses anymore. It's not working.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe price is always the answer.
Mm,
It doesn't matter what it is. Someone will rent it at the right price. You have a crappy product. Well, it's not. It can be that you have a crappy product, but also it could be it's not the right price for a crappy
right.
product. Whatever these things that are in, the price can always make it happen. So we actually did a full audit. I had a friend. I paid him to go in with like basic blind and completely audit us. Like I didn't tell anyone in my company what was happening. And so he found some little holes that we just, you're inside, you don't realize like, oh, well, that's a little confusing because you already know the next step of
That's
it
true.
all. So we did tweak some stuff there. And again, the market shift. I had my comp showing it should be $1,800 a month. Well, the market changed, and we rented it at
Okay.
$1,595 a month.
Okay.
It shifted that quick, and so you just have to keep changing, and and not just say, oh, we have to do this. So we have shifted our model a little bit. We've done some small tweaks internally. We didn't used to have to do anything to make the property welcoming and pretty. A long time ago, I used to put welcome signs up and make it smell good, and put some towels hanging. I mean, just make it feel a little
Right.
homier. We didn't have to do that for so
Right.
long. Now we do
Yeah.
again, and you see it with the big players as well. They're starting to offer half month off
Right.
rents. These different incentives. So we used to have stronger requirements to get in, and we just loosened them up a tiny bit because again, the market
Yeah.
shifted. And I already thought rents were out of control and people can't afford so much. So that was another problem with it. So yeah, we learned some lessons on that one. Luckily, I didn't say stubborn any longer and just say, no, my process
Right.
works.
Right.
I said, all right, what's wrong with our
Yeah.
process?
Yeah. Well, and that's the beauty of real estate investing and running a business is that we're solving problems every day, and we naturally in any business have to respond to what the market is giving us, and if you stay stubborn about some of those things, good luck because the
Yeah.
market will speak. Even in the real estate agent world here, I always say the market is the market, right? You can't make excuses or say it's this or that. Like the market is the market, and they will tell you what something is worth at this point in time. You know, and they
Yeah.
will
Well
look
said.
at the competition, and they will shop, and they will look at your product or service and respond accordingly. You know, so
Yeah, that's we gotta just keep that pulse on the market. That is why, from the very beginning, we said it's not a passive
yeah,
business. If
yeah,
as an agent, if you just kind of turn into passive and had a team, you wouldn't have your pulse on the
yeah,
changes. As the housing provider, if we're not like actively looking at it and poking, like, oh, what's going on? We just treat it, oh, passive. It'll just eventually fill itself. Well, it changed. Things change, and we have to change
yeah.
accordingly.
And I'm
I always think of Blockbuster that was so stubborn and didn't
right.
change. Where are they
Kodak.
at?
That's another one.
Yeah, Kodak. That's another great
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
yeah, and then part two of that is focusing on the things that we can control, and we can
Yes.
control price. We can control how it presents itself to the market. We can control a lot of those factors, and as much as we want to point the blame to the market or the economy or the election or the blah blah blah,
Hmm.
we can control only so much, and that's what we need to focus on, right?
I totally agree. And to give you a little context on that, when I ran the numbers on that property, it said that we had to drop the price. It was so long. I ran it at $1,500 a month because I knew that was a very conservative price. Remember that short
Yeah,
sale? That's why I bring that
yeah,
up. That has always kept me very conservative. I have lost out on multiple properties that I could have bought based on everything being perfect, but I knew one day things wouldn't be perfect again.
mm-hmm.
And I am not going to miss my payments. I'm not going to go negative. I'm not going to risk any of that ever again. So I miss out on some opportunity. So when the music does stop, which it did, or at least slow down
Yeah,
dramatically, I'm still making money. What if I ran my numbers at a true $1,800 that I had a comp for, a real comp? I would be negative $200 a
that's
month
right.
or lost all my cash flow, whatever, however I was set up.
Right, right, and you'll be in a much worse position at that point.
Yeah. Now, if I was 19 again, starting over, and I had nothing, like back then, I literally left my key in the ignition because it was your problem. You stole my car. It was
Yeah,
not nice, and nothing to lose. Hey, yeah, maybe I would take a little more risk. I had nothing to lose. Who
yeah,
cares? There's no family. There's nothing. It's just me, and I can live in a tent. Today I don't want to go back to that high
No,
risk.
no.
And you can't either. You have a family, like they
Yeah,
if you stop making the money, they don't eat. Like you're affecting other people.
absolutely.
So yeah, it depends on where your goals are and where you're at in life.
Yeah. To be fair, you have a portfolio, so when you have a portfolio, and I know you have different investors and different stakeholders in every single deal, you still can look at everything from a portfolio standpoint as well.
Mhm.
And it's like, hey, if we're vacant one on one side, it may not affect things as much. When you have one, two, or three properties, you're like, and get one vacancy, and you're
Oh
at
yeah,
like 60 on your portfolio, you're at 60, 70%, you're kind of freaking out a little bit.
yeah. You made $0 that year,
Right,
or you paid in.
right,
Yeah,
right. So that's
yeah.
how it
And that's
kind
why
of shifts over time too.
and we've talked about it a little bit. I don't think there's an exact answer to this, but I think once you get your first one, it's more dangerous to be between like one and maybe I think it's like around eight. Like I don't know if it's five, eight, wherever that actual number is. It's more dangerous when you have two, three, four because of what you just
Right.
explained. Then so it's almost like get that one under your belt and then grow, and then maybe take a pause back and fix all the
That's
stuff that
true.
because you grew so
That's true.
fast. Because one AC goes out or one vacancy, when you have eight properties, it doesn't hurt that
Yeah.
much.
Or or just make sure you have enough reserves. Like make
Yes.
that a prerequisite in your investing philosophy, right? Like it, 6 months
Mm-hmm.
reserve, or some people do it. If all my systems were to go out tomorrow, I have that in the bank, right? To fix.
Yeah.
So
And we just audited all of that, my CFO and I, because I'm looking for a more consistent business because I'm becoming more grounded.
nice.
I'm looking more family
Love it.
direction
Love it.
versus traveling around and just taking more risk, which I didn't care about. I was like, no, I'm not going to have that much reserve. That money should be working for
Yeah.
me. Now I value the calmness and steadiness and predictability. So I want more money in the bank account melting away to inflation.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel good. It's a price. Like I'm paying that inflation loss because I know exactly what's going to happen when I have that roof out. Oh, I don't care. Like it's not that I don't care, but it's already set.
Yeah.
Like my P&L has shown negative in a month, and I was like, well, I still got paid my regular amount because it came out of the reserves and never affected the
Yes.
business. And I'm just now doing that 22 years later.
I
Like
know.
shame on me for not doing it earlier, but
Oh, Adrian, you and I are the same age. I know we're in our low 40s, and we are those guys that can look back and reminisce on things we should and shouldn't have done.
oh yeah, both. Yeah.
um, let's transition a little bit in the conversation. So that's one side of your core business. The other side of your core business is teaching, um, guiding, advising. Tell us tell us what your core message is, or your reason why you pursue teaching as part of this and spending your time doing that. What drives you to do that?
Well, originally I said no. I was so scared. I literally, at my original RIA, they had me read the legal disclaimer. I physically shook. I don't remember it because I think I blacked out. So, like, I come from like scared to death of the
Mm,
idea of public speaking. It wasn't like number one fear, it was like zero. Like, there is no above everything. And now I feel great at it. I got over that fear. So, I talk about that piece of it
cool.
because I couldn't even fathom really helping without getting over that fear. But I've always liked helping. Still really kind of digging into like, why is that such a core thing I love doing is helping. It's not a bad thing. I just like to know the reason deep inside. I love helping. And I think part of it is so many people helped me. I would not be where I'm at today without all of my mentors helping me so much. So I love helping the same way, passing it on. And also, like, if I learned all of their information and I hoard it all inside, it dies. It never gets passed on to the next person and next
Yeah.
generation. And I think that's one of the biggest sins, to just not have stuff passed down for generation, forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Luckily today, technology can help that actually happen, but you still lose part. I mean, recording only does so
Yeah.
much. So there's that piece of it. I got asked, I mean, I never really planned to do any of this. I got asked because, well, I wear a bright shirt. I have a little bit more of a bright personality, and I'm doing this weird thing with mobile homes. Mobile home investors don't usually like proud of it and talk about it and put it all over their Instagram and Facebook. They're usually quieter about it. So that got me a little attention there. And then I was asked to speak locally a few times. And as I said, I got over that fear. I'm like, I really like this. It was a lot of fun. And then actually during COVID, I did my first paid class. I'm like, will someone actually pay me for what I know? And then I loved it. So then I started traveling around the country, speaking all around. I loved that. It gave me my travel bug that I love. I got to help all over. There's not a lot of people doing what I'm doing and actually sharing. So then it became in
Nice.
demand. I wrote a book on it and everything. I had a lot of fun doing it. But now again, I have to go back to what Adrian really wants, and it's being more grounded. But I love helping. So that's why I record a lot of it. I mean, people always ask me at your coffee meetup, be like, well, why are you here? You're not buying anything here. I'm like, I'm here to talk about real estate and, and learn. Like, I just love it. It's what I do is not that different. The whole thing we talked about, how I rent my properties, is no different. You can take I shouldn't say no different. You can take the core concept of it and do it in your midterm
Sure.
rentals and your Airbnb. Like, you can do it in all the different stuff. You just take the core principles and they're the same throughout all the businesses. So I learned stuff there. I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm going to go and take it and utilize it in my business, and vice versa.
The more and more I go down the road of business, let's say general business, they're all fundamental core principles.
Mm-hmm.
So real estate is just an industry that provides a service, housing to a customer, a tenant, and or resident, and you provide that service, and they pay you for it, and they expect a certain amount of value from that service or product, just like McDonald's selling you a hamburger.
Yep. Yep.
So
That's exactly what it is. I mean, we just have different products. Mine happen to
yeah,
be brought in on wheels.
yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. And what's your next iteration of teaching, do you think? Because I know that in our conversations, you are desire need to take a step back from the traveling. I get it. Like when we, as we get older, we have some perspectives on life, on doing things that we enjoy, because we know time is fleeting. Not to sound morbid about it, but um, what is your next iteration? Because I know you're not going to stop teaching. It's a passion of
No.
yours. So what does that look like, do you think?
Yeah, so I did record all my mobile home education because, again, that's where I got popular, and there was a lack of that in the market. So I have that there, but part of, as I get to your answer here, or your question, is I also was thinking, like, I don't want to explain the exact same deals for the next 10 years over and over again. Like, that just didn't sound like fun. I like talking about them, but to go over and over and over, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have new deals, but it just didn't sound like something I want to do forever. And my bigger passion, as you're leading to, is mindset, because that is the biggest thing in all businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, I've learned a lot of it the hard way. That's actually why I got so big into mindset, is struggles throughout life. And so I'm very big in the mindset. So I'm doing more of that on the active side. I'm actually coming out my very first mindset course. And one of my coaches even asked me, he's just like, well, you've got all this real estate education for the real estate investing. He's like, where's the lifestyle stuff in your education? I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
stings. I feed a little bit into my courses that come from mobile homes and marketing, all these different things. But I was like, yeah, I don't have an actual mindset. So I am finally doing that. I'm incorporating nature into it. And so that's probably where more of the, not probably, that's where more of the active experiential teaching is going to be, is in that side of it, and partially because I'm more passionate about it. And then I have a mastermind as well that I run for high level real estate investors, and I love facilitating that room. And it's just a lot of fun. It's wild to get paid for something that you would do for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just it never gets old. It never just like, oh yeah, that's just a check. Like when I buy a property and some rental money comes in, I won't lie. It's just kind of like, yeah, I expect it.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah.
I'm still just like, oh shit. Sorry.
It's so good.
Oh man, someone just paid me to do what I would do for free, or I would pay someone else to
Yeah.
do, and that is just wild
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Again, you are providing a service
Yeah.
to people who are looking for that type of perspective, and they see value in that, and they're going to pay you for that. It's plain and simple. So that's good on you to pursue that and provide uh, your community and your niche and people that are interested with those services. What is, I'll ask you about mindset, and I know that you're still doing a lot of development around that, and that's what we do as business people. But what is your approach to mindset? um, if I were to say, I need, I'm someone who just doesn't have the right mindset to go after what I want, or think I can achieve. What advice do you have for me in terms of my mindset?
The first challenge right there is you're giving yourself a reaffirmation or affirmation incantation that you don't have the mindset for it. So you're reaffirming
I like
yourself.
that. Yes, good.
I'm very, very big on our choice of words. And not that I'm perfect. I catch myself. I have lots of friends. That's one reason I'm in these masterminds to call me out on my choice of words. I believe when we say that over and over and over again, we get what we want. I'm going to butcher the Henry Ford quote is if you think you can or you think you can't, you're
Yes.
right. And it's very true. It's not 100% true. So it's that I have found my morning routine is one of my most important, and my vision. So my morning routine is I have to get up. I don't have to. I get to get up. See, there's a wording choice
Yeah.
right there. I get to get
Yes.
up. I like it to be hour to hour and a half before my first thing starts. So that means when I make it to 6:30 coffee with you and the other investors, I'm leaving around 6. So I'm probably getting up at 4 or 4:30. And I'm going to do my incantations, my visualization, my meditation, my movement, stretch, get the blood moving, meditation, and I'm going to read or listen to audiobook. So I'm just getting intention. I'm getting all that stuff in my brain. And the audiobook is not about real estate. It is about mindset, something like positive feeding in, because then that sets my day. So now when I come to coffee, I'm excited and happy. So I didn't just read the news like, oh, did you see that, blah, blah, blah's on fire and this and that. Like I'm coming there. I'm primed. It's a daily work that never ends. I don't expect that to ever end. And I do enjoy it. And then my vision is probably the other huge piece of it. It's what I want my future life to look like. I have it for business, I have it for life. And that's, again, a never ending document. It gets changed. I start accomplishing more and more. I rip it up and I do another one. And it's wild to look back and it's just like, I wrote that down as something to try to accomplish. That's so easy today. And, you write down things that you just think are crazy, and I want to listen to it and read it over and over more. I found the more often I read it or listen to it, so now I'm listening to it in my voice, uh, and the more often I do that, the faster I have found it to come true. And I can also nerd out on all the science of what's happening into the brain and the woo woo world of it all. But that is like the basis of it. If we just do that, and the other tip I'll give to the person that you just said, like, well, I don't have the mindset. You probably thought just now, like, Adrian, that's easy for you because you already have it, you already believe in it. I can't just say I have this positive mindset. So use a transition word. I am becoming a more positive person. So that doesn't maybe feel like a lie, but it's also not reaffirming the
Right.
negative. So we can use transition words like that to slowly start believing it. Because if you think it's all fake and you don't believe it, well, it's not going to work then. Back to the if we think we
Right.
can or can't.
Right.
You can see I can get on
Got
like
it.
a passionate thing there on that. Like, I love this
Thank you.
topic. It's just changed my life so many times. for the positive and for the
Yeah.
better.
And what I'm hearing too, without you saying it, is that, well, this is how I interpret mindset. And I'm becoming more, whether we use mindset, manifestation, whatever word you want to put in it, like it requires action still.
Yes.
It requires
Yes.
deliberate intentionality on moving forward, not at a
Yep.
particular pace, not at in a particular way or structure, but it is about taking the small actions. Mindset, and over time, your mindset can evolve or expand, as you take that action, right?
Yeah. Really well said. I completely agree with
Yeah.
that. I am not about, what's that book and movie, The Secret, where it was only about manifesting. Maybe I'm not far along in my journey in that world to believe that yet. Maybe I'm actually wrong, but that doesn't feel right to me. I think I need to do that, and I need to take the actual action, the steps. And I truly believe if I'm making my offers over here, but I'm taking that action, I have that belief, the deal might come from over here. I don't care. I made the
Yeah.
action forward, and the deal's going to come, and I don't care if it comes from a different direction. I just want the deal.
Yes. And what you just told me to, you gave me some real practical, if I were, someone that is partaking in your mastermind or your any of these programs, you're giving me useful tips, right? Or useful reframes on how to look at mindset and taking the next step, or taking some actions, or changing behaviors, like the words you use, that give you affirmation rather than focus on the negative. um, that's what you're giving, I think, people is little tools to get there.
And, yeah, and I'm a big fan of Mel Robbins, and she always says, I'm giving you science based stuff, or facts, whatever she's said. And I love that, and I need that. My, I'll say, way of regurgitating what I'm just learning from everyone else, she learned it from other people and she's doing the same thing, is I'm giving what has actually helped me in my life. I know some of the science, but I can tell you, I did this and I got this. Like, yes, there's some science behind it, but I just know I did this. And the more I did this, I got this. And so that's what I wanted. So, yeah, I don't need to know all the quantum and science and all these things. I love learning it. I just know I did this and I got this. Let's skip all this naysaying, or needing to know every piece. Do this and see if you get this. And if you don't, then do this and see, you just keep
Yeah.
trying it over and over again. And I just teach from what I've done and what has served my
Yeah.
life,
life is a
which means
life
it
is a
can
bunch of
continue to change.
life is a bunch of macro and micro iterations.
Ooh,
um,
yeah. Yeah.
I think I made that up, but you
I
can
like
use
it.
it.
All right.
um, well, good, Adrian. What a wealth of information. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on lifestyle real estate investing, mobile home investing. I have to correct myself sometimes. Um, and also your thoughts on mindset and your businesses around that. Thank you for sharing all of that. Where is the best place people can find information about you and what you offer? Please tell us about your book too.
Yeah, so I'm on most social medias. I am in my 40s, so I'm more active on Facebook, Instagram. My VA has me active on a few other platforms. So you can reach out to me anywhere there. Lifestyle-rei.com. You can reach me there. If you send me an email directly at Adrian at lifestyle-rei.com, remind me, salt me on Andrew's podcast. And I've got some cheat sheets on upgrading your mindset on mobile homes, on upgrading just your mindset on mindset shift stuff, private money. So I have a few things like that. I don't mind handing any of that out to anyone. I do have a book, as you mentioned, How to Buy Mobile Homes. We didn't really talk about marketing, but everything is yellow in my
Yes.
world. So the book is yellow. It's all about how to buy mobile homes. And as I mentioned, I sneak in some mindset. So there is a chapter on mindset in there.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm all there. Reach out to me. I love the help. as I can. And yeah, thanks for having me on here. You and your team are the ones doing the hard work. I show up, have fun, talk, and you have to do the work to produce
Yeah.
this.
Well, thanks. And I attribute that to my team. And I get to just have a conversation with you and record it. So I'm happy about that. And uh, we're going to have you back. I want to have you back because I do want to spend some time on branding. You have opened my eyes up to what brand means, and I want to pick your brain on that at another date. And so more to come from Adrian.
Let's do it. I absolutely love that topic, and I guess the teaser for that one is you have to make your marketing fun, because then it's not work, and you'll continue to do it. And I've learned that on my. That's why people are always like, "You're always marketing." I'm like, I don't know, it's fun to
Sure.
me. So as long as it's
Yeah,
fun, you'll market, and then it's not a job.
absolutely. Well, good. We'll leave it at that. And thanks again, Adrian, and we'll see you again in the future.
Sounds good. See you at your coffee
All right.
meetup.
Thanks.